Hi, Gimmeabreakman. I wanted to tell you that I really liked your special effects, the flames. That was pretty cool. I'm sorry, though, that you had that experience with the doctrine of hell. It's supposed to be a warning, not a threat. And when people use it to say that if you don't do what they want you to do, God will put you in hell, that's upsetting. That's I understand you'd be angry at that. That guy did have a funny name, Ched. I like the way he did that. It would be really funny, to get to heaven and find out that they did shorten it to Ched. Let's see, you were in Genesis 14. What really struck me, though, the flames, that made me think of Sojourner Truth. She was you probably may be familiar with her, but she was an escaped slave, or I think she was set free. She was a former slave, and she adopted the name Sojourner Truth and went around preaching, basically. And she ran across a tent meeting of Millerites, which is what Seventh-day Adventists used to be called before they became Adventists, and then Seventh-day Adventists. William Miller was one of the founders of our church. And they were preaching that the end of the world was near and that it was going to go up in flames. And she said that she didn't believe a word of it. And she said that even if it were true, that we would just walk around in the flames like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which you'll get to in Daniel. But I got to thinking about that. There's a lot of truth in what she said, because it made me think of a verse in Isaiah 33:14. It says that the sinners in Zion are afraid, and fearfulness has seized the hypocrites. They ask, it's in quotations, "Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings?" And then the answer is, he who walks righteously and speaks uprightly, he who despises the gain of oppression, who gestures with his hands, refusing a bribe. I don't know if you see my hands down there, refusing a bribe, who stops his ears from hearing of bloodshed. I think that's what they were talking about in, sorry, I'm doing the motions like a child song. But, and he who shuts his eyes from seeing evil, he will dwell on high. His place of defense will be the fortress of rocks, and bread will be given him, and his water will be sure. So it talks about, though, dwelling with the eternal burnings, and that made me think of Hebrews. It's Hebrews 12:29, I think. Hebrews 12:29 that says, "For our God is a consuming fire." And it refers you back to Exodus, which you haven't read yet either, but where it says that, let's see, that was in Exodus, that the glory of the Lord was to the people like a consuming fire on the top of the mountain. It talks also about, in Ezekiel, about the king of Tyre. Well, it talks about the prince of Tyre and how his kingdom's going to fall, but then it talks about the king of Tyre, Satan, who was ruling through the prince of Tyre, how he was the covering cherub, and how he walked back and forth in the midst of the fiery stones. He was on the holy mountain of God, and he walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones. So evidently in heaven, on the mountain of God, there's all this fiery stones. And in Revelation, it says that the people who came through all of the tribulation, that they stood on like a sea of glass co-mingled with fire, is what it looked like. And so there's a lot of fire images associated with God. That just made me think of Sojourner Truth, that she's like, we'll just walk around in it. And maybe we will, whenever we're in the presence of God. Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of your readings. They really make me think and do a lot of research. Talk to you later. Bye.